Right. Hello, welcome to Local Matters. My name is Vicki Evans. For most of us who live here, we do grow to admire and treasure the Sonoran Desert. The Arizona Open Land Trust began about 30 years ago, and it works to protect the vanishing western landscape and wildlife habitat. And we're going to learn more about this amazing organization as we welcome Diana Freshwater. Thank you for being here. And Diana is the Executive Director of the Arizona Open Land Trust. And we welcome Nicole Fife.
Thank you.
Nicole, thanks for being here. And she is the assistant to the county administrator with the Pima County Administrator's Office. So again, thank you both. Diana, 30 years ago, a group of citizens got together, and take the story from there.
Right, a group of citizens got together and realized that southern Arizona is a most beautiful place and in need of protection because we've been dealing with growth pressures for, well, forever. And so the board of directors got together and established a membership and began protecting landscapes by working with willing landowners who wanted to donate property or sell property and protect it in perpetuity.
Okay, so when you talk about willing landowners and protection in perpetuity, talk about some of the successes.
We have been very fortunate to partner with Pima County on a number of projects over the past 12 years now. And one of the projects that we worked on and very early with them was the Robles Pass. And we ended up protecting 800 acres of land in the southern part of the Tucson Mountains, south of Ajo and west of Mission. And it was the largest addition to Tucson Mountain Park since its inception in 1928. And that was with 1997 bond funds, and that was a great project.
All right. And then, Nicole, talk about the county, working with the Arizona Open Land Trust and kind of the county's policy toward, preservation or protection of the Arizona desert.
Sure. We've been really lucky to be able to have the Arizona Open Land Trust and Diana Freshwater to work with. Diana's been part of the Sonoran Desert Conservation Planning effort. She was also part of the effort to identify what lands should be targeted for conservation first, and so she has an incredible wealth of information and background to go out and talk with landowners on our behalf and on their behalf and try and bring us together so that we can conserve more properties with funds that the voters have approved for us to do so.
All right, so does the county have like a declaration of this is the intent of the county, a goal, a mission that they work for?
We do. We have something that the board adopted in 2001 called the Conservation Land System, and it basically shows areas that are most suitable for development and areas that are most suitable for conservation. And so we know which areas we're trying to target for conservation, and we have various tools to do that, and one of the tools is to outright purchase properties or to purchase conservation easements on properties, and that's where the Arizona Land Trust comes in.
All right. So I think we've got some shots or some photos that you've brought with you of some of the current projects you're working on.
Right.
So as those come up, you can talk about them.
Okay.
Diana. So we've got Edgar Canyon.
Right. The first one is Edgar Canyon. This is a 3,300 acre property on the San Pedro River. The Edgar Canyon drains into the San Pedro, and this is located in northeastern Pima County.
So are we talking like Tubac area, or am I too far? That's not in our county, right?
Oh, closer, more towards San Manuel.
Okay, up that way. Whoa, I was the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And actually, if you were to drive up the Mount Lemmon Highway and the San Pedro overlook, if you get off there and you look down, you'll be looking east, and that whole ranch comes down the side of the mountain there towards the San Pedro River.
Oh my gosh, and people say Arizona isn't green, right?
Oh,
right.
It's beautiful.
So, and this is Rancho Seco poppies?
Rancho Seco, another really stunning.
And those are poppies.
Beautiful, yes. Back in 2005, actually a year after the bond passed, we were able to close, Pima County was able to close on a project that we had worked with the landowners for 4 years on. And this is an 80 square mile working ranch. It's 10,000 deeded acres and 36,000 leased acres. So it's a working cattle ranch, and it's actually occupies just slightly a smaller area than urbanized Tucson.
What makes that so prized when we speak of the Sonoran Desert habitat, and what makes that area so worthy of preservation as opposed maybe to another desert area?
Sure, that area has really significant grassland. It's a connection between the Buenos Aires Wildlife Refuge on the west and the Corador National Forest sort of on the southeast. And it's just an incredibly sort of rich area for various types of habitat, including the Pima pineapple cactus, which is one of our endangered species that we're trying to conserve.
What kind of animals would people be surprised? It's not just lizards and snakes, right?
It isn't, but we did see a badger out there one time.
A badger? Really?
Yes,
Wow.
yes, we did see
And
a
they're
badger
water loving, aren't they?
Definitely, definitely.
And what occasional jaguar has been tracked moving through there?
Yes. Apparently it's a northern range, northern end of the range for the jaguar.
One question, maybe we could see that, the Rancho Seco again, because that, as you said, Diana, is a working ranch. And what does that mean? How does it operated or run or preserved as a working ranch?
Well, one of the main objectives of our organization is to keep ranchers and farmers on the land so that these working landscapes are economically viable. So this working ranch has a 10-year management agreement with Pima County. So Pima County purchased the property, and then the landowners are staying on, and they raise cattle and they operate a business at their own risk, and they manage the land. And it's a huge service to the community because they can do that very efficiently with their cowboys and a crew of people who know the landscape and know the animals.
Exactly.
And it's a very good working relationship.
Has there been a shift between a drawing together for common good of the old stereotype? Ranchers on this side, environmentalists said they abused the land and overused it. Ranchers on the other hand saying environmentalists were nothing but tree huggers. But that is old and stereotypic, isn't it? I mean, there's been a real coming together, I think, and I could be wrong, of just to preserve and do the best for the land. Nicole, what do you think?
Yeah, through our Sonoran Desert Conservation Planning process, we discovered what a lot of people knew already, that we really need to keep ranchers ranching, because that's where, the bulk of the land that we want to conserve is under ranches. And if ranchers decide to keep ranching instead of selling to housing subdivisions, that's where we're going to have the biggest impact in conservation. And so I'm sure the debate, will continue, but it's definitely lessened so. And the county, for sure, sees the value in keeping ranchers ranching.
Right. And what makes this southeastern Arizona Sonoran Desert so unique and so worth saving, Diana?
The Sonoran Desert, it stretches west into California and south into northern Mexico. And we enjoy the most plant and animal species diversity of any non-coastal state in the country, third only to California and Texas. And we have, in addition to that, we have the Sky Islands here, the network of Sky Islands, and that brings a tremendous amount of species diversity. So
that was something new to me, coming to Pima County in southeastern Arizona. Yeah. So describe what a Sky Island is.
There are 27 in the assemblage, 27 mountain ranges, and it is a series of valley floors and mountain tops, and vegetation ranges from desert scrub at the valley floor to forests at the mountain tops. And you can imagine just on your drive up to Mount Lemmon how you drive through all of those different life zones, and you can see the species diversity in the plants, and that's mimicked in animal life.
So the Sky Island is literally the idea of going from one habitat or one, help me, what's the word I'm looking for?
Some call it life zone.
Life zone. Yes. In a short area, is
right.
that what makes it the island?
Right, it's a very vertical.
It's a vertical.
Right.
So going this way is not, so driving along the highway And eventually coming to a mountain range is not a sky island.
Right. The idea of the sky island is that you are starting at a low elevation, say 2,500 feet for the Catalinas, let's say, almost up to 10,000 feet, and you're not traveling very far horizontally. You're going up 23 miles, you know, pretty much straight up. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Right. And we are talking to Diana Freshwater with the Arizona Open Land Trust and Nicole Fife with the Pima County Administrator's Office, and about the Arizona Open Land Trust. And we've got some information for you if you would like to get in touch with these folks. It is the Arizona Open Land Trust. You're located at 3127 North Cherry Avenue. Phone number 577-8564. That's 577-8564. And the website is aolt.org. That's aolt.org. Nicole, what has been the, for lack of a better word, the tightrope, the balancing that the county has to do because of the pressures of growth? And you know, growth is not just about developers coming in, it's about the people that want the developers to come in, the citizens that will buy the homes or the, you know, or the go and spend money at the shopping centers. So how would you describe that balancing act?
Sure. Well, we continue year after year to have about 15,000 to 20,000 new residents in Pima County. And they, like you said, they need housing, they need shopping centers, et cetera. And so a lot of those folks come here or choose to stay here because of our great natural resources. So when you talk about the balance, it's really how do they come here and enjoy that, and the current residents still continue to enjoy that without that being negatively impacted. And so the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan really addressed that through the conservation land system in identifying areas that are most suitable for development and most suitable for conservation. And what we're trying to do, and we have some development tools as well as our acquisition tools, to direct growth to those areas that are most suitable for development, so that they're not putting so many pressures on our natural resources.
Okay, so what is the outlook then for, you know, the habitat and the landscape in the next 10 to 20 years? And I think we've got a map that we can share with you all, and perhaps Nicole or Diana can explain it to us.
Sure.
So the outlook, you think?
Continued growth, and the Daily Star just had a growth forum, I believe it was 2 Fridays ago. So really what we're focusing on is how to try and manage that growth.
So what are we looking at here?
The map that you're looking at in green are lands that were conserved prior to the 2004 bond election. The county holds bond elections to fund, through secondary property taxes, the conservation of lands. And so that shows what was in place prior to that bond election. Now, when you see the red and sort of pinkish lands, those are lands that we've been able to conserve since then, like in the last about 3 years. And you'll notice it's almost forming like a ring around the city. And what we're trying to do is create sort of an urban form. So you have the areas on the outside that are being conserved and can be conserved in sort of a large landscape level. And the areas on the inside are more appropriate for urban development and the conveyance of infrastructure and things like that.
And the big kind of gray area on the lower left, that is what? Is that Davis Monthan or federal land, or what?
I'm trying to look and see what you're looking at there.
I'm kind of over there. Below the thing that says 2004 bond.
That's the Tohono O'odham Reservation.
Okay, that's the Tohono O'odham Reservation.
Yeah.
So do you envision then that that really we would become pretty much an urban area surrounded by this conserved green zone? Am I understanding this correctly, Diana?
I think that's the objective, and as Nicole said, the focus would be to keep growth in places where we have existing infrastructure and where we'll be able to maybe grow up instead of out, because the surefire way to have sort of a unregulated growth disaster, both fiscally and in terms of the environment, is to continue what's become a pattern of lot splits of ranches where you have homes on 5 to 10 acres and everybody drills a well, everybody has a septic tank, there's a dirt road to every home. And while while that is a lifestyle that is appealing to some, it's very hard for agencies like Pima County and Cochise and Santa Cruz County to provide services because these are remote locations. So they tax the system very heavily.
Yeah.
So it's good for all of us to kind of focus where we have the urban footprint.
Okay. Is there, and Nicole, you can help me, a developer, if he doesn't tap into either county or city services, infrastructure, a developer, listen to me, could be she, right? They can drill their own. The state allows that, correct? So they can tap into the existing groundwater.
That's what we struggle with. We struggle with, as a county, we only have the rules to deal with that the state has given us, unlike cities that can establish some additional rules. But so we struggle with how to accommodate growth in a more regulated manner versus unregulated, as Diana was talking about. And it's that unregulated growth that can be extremely harmful to the ecosystems.
Right. And let's talk about, when we talk about the infrastructure, what do you mean, Diana? Is that, I know it's streets, roads, lights, but without water here, there really is no development, right?
Right.
And how is that resource doing for this kind of Tucson Valley Basin, Pima urban area?
It is obviously the topic of much debate. It's on the front page of the paper just about every other day, and there are region-wide and statewide concerns about water levels in our storage areas. And in addition to that, we have a groundwater supply that is not endless. So we are going to have to deal with that, and there are obviously many discussions about how to recycle water and use what we have over and over again.
Right, right. Well, along those lines, what are some of the biggest threats, do you think, to landscape and to habitat and to wildlife?
Sure, and we've talked a little bit about some of them. So, increased development pressures from either, physically having houses and buildings built into habitat or fragmenting habitat. The lack of water or water being taken out of the ground in inappropriate areas where there's riparian systems that really need that water to continue. Mining has been an interesting one that we've had to deal with a little bit more over the last couple
and we're still dealing
years.
with as we do this program.
As the price of copper went up and as our needs for cement and other sort of resources continue, there's been a lot of mining proposals that you've probably seen in the news, a lot closer to our urban area than what we're comfortable with. And so, the county has said repeatedly on this subject that we understand that mining needs to continue for our type of quality of life to continue, but there are certain areas that it shouldn't continue on. And so that's a threat that we're trying to figure out how to address, because we at Pima County don't have the regulations to deal with that. So we're dealing with the state, the Forest Service, other federal and state agencies that can help us deal with that.
Right, right. And for the Arizona Open Land Trust, are there areas right now that you're seeking to preserve that are maybe in danger, that at least are viable for preservation through your organization?
Yes, we continue to focus on these riparian areas that Nicole was mentioning. So like Edgar Canyon, a place with surface water and riparian vegetation, cottonwoods, sycamores, those are the most precious places to protect first, and we're focusing on those.
So in the future, do you have any in the futures, or is it mum's the word for a while?
I think mum's the word.
Mum's the word, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Nicole, what steps does the county see as necessary to take, perhaps in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years?
If you're just talking about land conservation and sort of the acquisition of lands, we're planning for a future bond election. We continue, that's our primary funding source to be able to purchase land from willing landowners. And so we have fundings from the 2004 bond election, but we're looking to plan for a future bond election, and we don't exactly know when the timing of that will be yet. We have an oversight committee that provides recommendations to us on that. But that's something that we hope the community, and we're optimistic that the community would continue to support like they have in the past.
All right, and we've got more information for you. If you would like to know more about the bond election planning for Pima County, just go to the website bonds.pima.gov. Again, that's bonds.pima.gov, or you can call 740-8450, 740-8450. And Nicole, describe to us what a bond is. What are we voting for when we do this?
Sure. What you're voting for is you're authorizing Pima County to sell bonds that are paid back by your secondary property taxes.
Which are what property taxes?
So your property taxes, when you get your, if you own a house and you get your property tax bill, there's a primary, you'll see two numbers on there, a primary tax and a secondary tax. The primary tax goes to our operations and management. Secondary tax goes to pay off debt. So we're basically borrowing to purchase these lands or to build recreational facilities, build libraries, build jails. That's how we fund a lot of our infrastructure.
Right. You know, and I think people sometimes, newcomers, now I'm not born in Arizona, I'm not a native, sorry, but I love the desert and I've lived here many years, so I can't claim being a native daughter. But I think a lot of newcomers aren't aware of the diversity of wildlife that the desert is home to, and how important they are to our quality of life. I'd like your thoughts on that, Diana.
I think that's so true, and I'm reminded of a conference I recently attended where the demographic statistics were revealed that people generally, their stay in Tucson is 5 or 6 years, and then they move on. So you have a very short window of opportunity to share this amazing place with people and have them become attached to it. And I think it's a testament to the citizens and to Pima County that we have never lost an open space or a conservation bond election since the 80s. We've been successful. So people do want to protect this place, and I think they're very interested. And then the next little piece of it, I think, is just getting out there and walking around in these beautiful places and seeing what you can observe.
Right. Your thoughts, Nicole, on just what wildlife adds to our quality of life?
Oh, I mean, it's tremendous. I know on my days off, I like to go. I found a new favorite trail in Tucson Mountain Park just the other day that I was really excited about. But I think being able to educate other people on the importance of that and those experiences is crucial. And with the turnover, it is difficult. And our education department at our Pima County Parks and Rec department has grown substantially over the last few years to help implement the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan and to work with kids and to work with adults and try and convey some of those, what this place has to really offer.
Right. You know, I live in central Tucson, and I walk our dogs in the wash. We live close to some washes. And I did it this morning, and I saw, I think, a small sandhill crane flying south overhead, little legs sticking, and this is just in the middle of town, sticking out, going that away, south. The quail family is back.
Good.
From the winter.
Yeah.
And I want to call it a scarlet tanager, but I don't know if we have them. A little black fellow with red top and scarlet here who comes for nesting and breeding in our wash and then is gone. And what else? And we had javelina, family of 8, right as the autumn began. So, and I have grown to love. I look for them. They add to my day.
Yes.
So the upcoming bond, I want to just stress this again, give that information. Are we going to be asked to vote on this fairly soon?
May or may not be fairly soon.
Okay.
We were looking at a November 2008 or 2009 or 2010 bond election, so that's still up in the air of the timing of that. And in the meantime, we continue to spend the bond dollars that the voters approved in 2004 on conserving lands.
Can you tell us what the county did with the bond funds from, what is it, 97 and 04? What did we get for our money, so to speak?
Quite a bit, actually.
So go ahead.
Yeah, probably over about 150,000 acres have been conserved. And from the 97 bond funds, we had about $29 million to acquire properties, acquired about 7,000 acres out of that, and out of the 2004 bond funds, a tremendous additional amount of lands were acquired. And just, I guess we're coming up on 3 years now, because it was May 2004 that it was approved.
So because of the efforts of the Arizona Open Land Trust in Pima County, we all are 150,000 acres richer of Sonoran Desert. And we want you to be able to look up more information about Pima County bond. So please go to the website, which is bonds.pima.gov. That again, that's bonds.pima.gov. Or you can always call 740-8450. That's 740-8450. How can citizens help?
Well, one way that's very engaging is to become interested in the places around you, like you do with the animals, and look for organizations like the Land Trust or Tucson Audubon or some organization that's working on conservation issues that are special to you, and become a member and start going on these field trips. And another way, if a bond election does come up, we have a group called the Friends of the Sonoran Desert, and you can volunteer to help us go out and knock door to door and share information about the upcoming bond and sign petitions and get involved in that activity.
Okay, so quickly, for more information about what you can do to help maintain and preserve our beautiful surroundings, Arizona Open Land Trust, located 3127 North Cherry Avenue, and the number is 577-8564. That's 577-8564. And don't forget the website, aolt.org. I can't thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
If people could remember anything as we say goodbye, Nicole, what would you like them to think about?
I think I would like them to think about wherever you're walking or driving around Tucson, you can usually see our mountains, and we tend to have more of a natural habitat around us than places like Phoenix. And we don't want to destroy that. And the more people that move here, we want to do it in a way that's managed and that could actually benefit that in the long term. So.
Right. And thank you both on those words.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. With the Arizona Open Land Trust. And remember, we love our desert, and we have to take care of it. Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you.